Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial, which is all about sound design. In the last lesson we actually did the video editing, so we actually edited our video, and since that lesson I've actually replaced the video that we did during the lesson with the real video edit that I did for the final day of the Idaho BDR. But other than that, everything else is as we left it at the end of the lesson. So the video footage is ungraded, all of the sound files, we haven't done anything to them, with the exception of one sort of music fade out, which we did when we were laying down the audio tracks. But other than that, it's exactly the same. So let's get into it, and I'm going to go into editing mode. Okay. And you can see here right now I've just sort of maximized my timeline so that I can see all of our tracks, and I have I've minimized the image because we just need to, that's just being used to see where we are in the video. One thing that I find useful when I'm sort of getting into sound design is I like to sort of standardize the clips. So if you remember, track 1 we had our live camera audio, track 2 was for camera audio, 3 voiceover, 4 sound effects, and we had 2 music tracks. These colored labels, they're really handy for video in terms of identifying, you know, which is GoPro, which is Osmo, which is Skydio, etc. But for the sound editing, I kind of like to simplify things a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock that video track, and all of this camera audio, I'm just going to select it, and I'm just going to right click. I'm going to say label, and I'm just going to put it into a standard color. So I don't know, let's just say rose. Okay, so now all my live camera audio is that sort of pink color. My voiceover, why don't we just highlight all of those and make that. So let's go, let's make that yellow. Okay, and my music's green. So from a sound perspective, it just gives me clarity. I can really quickly see, you know, which is live camera audio, which is voiceover, and which is music. Perfect. Now, before we jump in and start editing, I just thought I'd show you a couple of basics to sort of introduce you to sound design. So I've got here essentially 3 shots. So I've got a YouTube clip, and if I just bring that up a bit, so just good audio while I'm following a couple of riders. I've then got a drone shot, and I've got another drone shot. Okay. One thing I found is, if let's say that I wanted to have this GoPro shot and then cut to the drone, the absence of any sound is quite jarring. And even if I'm putting video under it, music under it, for example, so let's play some music, make that a bit louder. It still jars. Now, even if I take this down to a good level, I still find it jarring. And so one way to improve that, I'm just going to mute my music. One way that's easy to fix is to actually extend that audio out. So if I just lock that video track, I can now drag that audio out underneath my drone. And if I put a razor blade cut on the edit, I can now just adjust that and pull it down. So if I make that a little bit, well, if I leave it at the same level, so let's just let's undo that. If I play it now, yes, it's great. I've filled that in with, in fact, I'm just going to emphasize the effect a bit. I'm going to put that up to 3.9 and the same 3.9. So if I play that now, okay, so I've got constant motorbike sound over the top of it. What I find works better is if you cut into a drone shot, it's nice to put it there, but just drop the drone shot down, drone audio level down a bit. So it's something like this. okay, which kind of mimics more, how it would be in the real world. So if you did have a microphone on a drone, which obviously you don't, it would be further away. Okay, so that's one technique that I use when I'm actually mixing in drone footage. Most of the time I don't leave the drone running silent. I actually lay in some sound under the bottom of it. Now if we look at this drone shot, you can see the drone flies quite close to the bike. We can take it to the next level if I just hold down the Option key and drag that across to make a copy of that. Now, and I'm going to just sort of run it at full level for now. So now, okay, if I want to make that even more realistic, as the drone gets close to the bike, which is about there, I could just make that just a fraction louder. So I'm going to widen my audio track, hold down my Command key, and now I can just very slightly bring this down. Let's try that. So it's really subtle, but it actually makes it more realistic. You actually really believe that that's the drone microphone picking up the sound of that. And especially then when you if you start layering on the music, and sometimes you might think, you can barely even hear it, but your ear does sort of pick up things if they're not quite right. So anyway, it's just a simple technique that I wanted to run you through before we start editing and doing our sound design. Okay, so day 8, the sound design. So let's start from the beginning. So the first thing in sound design that I usually do is I focus on my audio, my voiceover, and my music, and I try to get that right. So I'm just going to hit the mute on all of my background sounds, and I'm just going to purely focus on the mix between the music and the audio.
Notably the end of the Nevada BDR, so a great place to go to with that context. Highlight for today's route is just the open wilderness that we're...
So that's not too bad. I'm just going to try lifting that up a little bit. I don't want this too loud while he's speaking.
Nevada state line, and then finishing up in the town of Jarvidge, which is notably the end of the Nevada BDR, so a great place to go to.
That's probably a little bit loud. I'm just going to make this track a bit wider so I can...
With that context. Highlight...
Still too loud.
For today's route is just the open wilderness.
I'm just making sure that I've actually got... I just want to make sure that on this I've got the... No, I haven't. So that I'm looking at these audio tracks actually, and I can see that they've all got this sort of green indicator that effect has been applied, except for these first two, and that means that they missed out when I was actually applying the dialogue equalization. Balance male voice. Okay, so now you can see it's put the little green check on them, and I now know that that's actually been they've been equalized.
And that's that we'll experience as we go through these very long straight
segments. That's better. And so now the balance is certainly much better. So make sure that one's got it as well. Balance male voice. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I feel pretty good about the balance between that audio and the music. Let's go back to editing.
We touched the Nevada state line, and then finishing up in the town of Jarvidge, which is...
Okay, so that's good. Let's go to, let's go now.
Total mileage for this final day will be 110 miles.
We started the day early on our last day because we knew we were wrong. And that's fine. This music's quite low, but this music, it's kind of more almost filler music. It's really this track of music that's more the hero. So I'm pretty happy with this section of the Idaho BDR because it's boring, and I'm happy with that sort of music just being nice and low underneath. So now we start changing in music, and let's have let me just bring this up a bit. Let's see what level we're at here. Okay, so that's at full volume essentially. So let's just play this. Speed and impatience to get to the forests and the mountains, which really are beautiful. I can hear that. But maybe it's because I'm from Australia and I'm used to the wide open spaces, but I loved this section. It was such a contrast to ride flat out in this amazing scenery. So that's great. This voiceover comes over, the music's still quite low. You can see it's building in intensity, so I haven't had to sort of duck the music underneath it. And now I'm just sort of letting the music build and build. And it continues to do that. That's great. Now we get to another bit of audio here. I kind of find my zen when okay, now I would like to actually just bring the music down a bit for that, just so that it's really clear. So I'll take that down, say about 8 dB. I kind of find my zen when I'm riding in these conditions. I just go to my hat. That's fine. I'm not going to raise the music here. I'm just going to, it's quite sort of reflective period anyway. Just love being out on the bike in nature. I spent some time reflecting on the week. Okay, that's all good. I've kept the audio down. And then there's this piece. If this video inspires even a single person to try a BDR or to try riding their bike. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start, I'm going to lift it up a bit. I wouldn't mind the music coming up a little bit higher. Passion. If this video inspires even a single person to try a BDR or to try riding their bike on dirt or to explore the backcountry, then job. Actually, I'm going to do it even higher because that music's quite dramatic, and it's sort of, it's quite a dramatic sort of bit of audio. If this video inspires even a single person to try a BDR or to try riding their bike on dirt or to explore the backcountry, then job done. Okay, now after that, I'm going to sort of put this back up to pretty close to full volume. So I'm going to just lift it very slightly there. Country, then job done. Okay, so now the music just sort of cranks, and really the music's the hero, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Because if you, okay, and you can hear I've got to pull the music down for this bit. I love being on two wheels because it's just competing too much. So let's go. So I'm going to hold down the command key, and I'm going to go. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I can just duck that down. Now you can do this automatically in Premiere, but I do like to just do it manually. So I'm going to duck that down, say to about 13. We'll try that. Because if you, no, it's too much. So try it up to about 8. Because if you love being on two wheels, there is no better way to see the world than exploring it on dirt. Okay, and it's probably just a bit aggressive, the rise, so I'm going to start building it up. Under. Because if you love being on two wheels, same, it's probably a little bit, comes in a bit early and it's a bit harsh, that duck, so I'm going to because if you love being on two wheels, there is no better way to see the world than exploring it on dirt. That's better. Okay, so Now it just goes full bore, the music all the way through. And then you'll see at the end, I've got these last 2 bits of voiceover, but it's kind of, it happens, you know, I've set this up so that it's at the end and the music naturally ducks down. We finished the BDR in the small town of Jarbidge, Nevada. Another one of those towns with an incredible history and a boatload of character. I was sad that my adventure was coming to an end, but I'm super thankful that I got to experience it, and I'm already planning my next one. Okay, so it naturally, the music fades as the image fades, as the audio fades. So that's all, you know, that's why we lay the audio tracks down to do the video edit, so we can make it all just work nicely. So that's pretty good. Now, the only change I'd like to do is right at the beginning for this sort of opening scene, I'd like to probably just lift my music a bit, and then I'll duck it when he starts speaking. So let's have a look at that. So I would like to, I'm going to duck it there, so I'm going to put a command point, and I'm just going to lift it up a bit there. Let's try that.
Okay, day 8 and the final.
Yeah, that works better. I don't mind. I sort of don't mind ducking it there, but you kind of hear that sort of build as the crossfade happens. So that's pretty good. Okay, so we've done our voiceover. We've got our music all balanced. Now it's the background sound. So what I usually do, I usually just find some good GoPro sounds. So I'm just going to, instead of muting it, I'm going to solo it. Okay, so there's some good road noise. Perfect. So now what I want to do is I want to actually work out what level to put that at so that it fits in nicely with my voiceover and everything like that. So I'll turn off the solo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of loop that. So I can actually click up here on my timeline, hit I for in. I can hit O for out. And now I've actually put a little in and out point here. And over on this loop playback means it will now, when I play,
Because we knew we were riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy.
it'll just
We knew we were riding
there,
through the desert,
and so I can
and we
get
wanted
that
to
just
enjoy.
right.
Because we knew we were riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy. Because we knew we were riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy. Because we knew we were riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy. Because
Okay, so I think that's pretty good, and I'll just play the difference with it on and off.
we knew we were riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy. Because we knew we were riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy. Because
Okay, so with the background audio, I don't want that competing with the voiceover. I don't want it competing with the music, but I want it to create the atmosphere that you're on the road. So I've left it down pretty low, but that seems to work well. Okay, I'm going to clear those in and out points now. So if I right click and I can say clear in and out, that they're gone. Okay, so now that I've set my level correctly, and that's actually it's actually set at 16.8. So you can see volume level minus 16.83. I actually want to apply that to all my other GoPro footage. So I can come up to my effects panel here. Let's just shut that down. And in audio, all right, I've got my volume, and you can see there it's set at minus 16.8. So I can just select it. I can Command C to copy it. And then I just want to apply this to my GoPro clips. And again, this is where the labels work really well. So I can see that they're all GoPro clips. And I can go Command V, and you can see the level drops. Here's some GoPro clips. So Command V, and Command V. Oops. There's another one. Command V, and there, and here. Okay, so that's it. I've now probably got I may have to fine tune this a little bit, but I've actually got pretty good.
Riding through the desert, and we wanted to enjoy the cooler temperatures. Now, I've heard a number of people say that you should
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, I can hear the sound there, but it's not competing.
skip this section of the Idaho BDR because it's boring and it's barren.
Now there, with that shot, you know, he's riding straight to me. You know, I might just sort of boost that up a bit. Let's try that, say 5.
I've heard a number of people say that you should skip this section of the Idaho BDR because it's boring and it's barren. And if you're riding the BDR,
So I don't mind that. It sort of just emphasizes it a little bit more, and you know, that maybe just down a little bit.
will say that you should skip this section of the Idaho BDR because it's boring and it's barren. And if you're riding the BDR,
Yeah, so that's good. You know, the bike's coming close to you, you want to hear it as it's going through. Okay, so we've done all of that. We've just got some live sound there, which just be them talking. Now, the drone, let's have a look at the drone. Now, so for this drone shot, the bikes aren't moving, so there's no point putting bike noise underneath that. This drone shot.
my zen when I'm riding.
Okay, now normally I would put bike sound underneath this. In fact, you know, I think I might do that. So the easiest way to do that is I've got a, let's just solo that. Okay, so I've got some bike audio there. So what I can do is I can just lock the video track, and I can just grab that and extend it. Okay, now I'll slice it. So now I can adjust the level separately on the drone shot if I need to. So let's just have a look.
I kind of find my zen when I'm riding in these
Yeah, it's quite good. I like that. So
conditions. I just go to my happy place and just love being out on the bike in nature.
okay, so that's good. And then we go to this sort of reflection,
I spent some time
and I don't need to put any audio underneath that. No, even with the reflections, it's kind of almost like sort of like a dream state, so I don't need to put it under there. Now this one, I slowed this shot down in the edit, so you can see it says 50%. And to do that, I actually went right click, speed duration, 50%. And because it's slow-mo, I don't think I need to put any sound underneath that. If we have a look at that.
If this video inspires even a single...
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's almost like it's quite a sort of moving part of the voiceover, so I'll leave that. Let's have a look at what we've got. Okay, so we've got... now, I'll show you one thing that sort of goes quite well. So you see this guy, if I just have a look at this. Again, I would probably just boost that one up a bit because he's riding right to camera. And I would probably extend the audio on that. So if I lock the video track, I can actually just bring this down onto camera 2, and I can actually extend that out. You can see that sound sort of tapers under that. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, I quite like that. It's almost like he's riding past, and it's a nice crossfade transition. Unlock the video track. Okay, again, the mics aren't moving, so I don't need any audio into that gap. That's all good. Okay, now we get into the epic drone stuff. Now, again, as I said, if this wasn't so epic, I would put audio underneath this. But because it is sort of quite sort of cinematic, I'm not going to. This is now, the music is the star of this. For this one, the close-up of the wheel, I might actually just lift this sound up. Let's try that. Okay, it's too much, but I do like having a bit of it there. Yeah, that works well. Okay, and we've got epic drone, we've got ride into jar bridge, and then we've just got natural sound there. Okay, so that is all done. So we've pretty much done the sound design. There's one more thing that I want to do though, and that's on that first shot. So if we zoom in, so we've got this sort of slow crossfade into the morning scene, and it's just music in the background. Now, I'd like to emphasize that this is morning, and to do that, I'd like to put the sound of birds, early morning birds. To do that, I can go to my epidemic sound. I can search for morning birds. Okay, and it's searching sound effects. And so now here are bird sounds. And the one I chose was number 18. Okay, so I downloaded that sound effect, and I brought it into Premiere, and it's sitting in my sound effects folder. So here is morning bird sounds, and I'm going to take that and bring it down onto the sound effects track. And just to make it so it's not confusing, label, let's make that blue. So now my sound effects are blue. So if I listen to this, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of start it in black, but at a lower level. Okay, and then I can fade that down here. Okay, so that's just an example where, a simple sound effect can really help create the mood. So,
okay, day 8 and the final day.
Perfect. So that's it. We have finished our sound design. In the next lesson, we're going to do color grading, which, I get pretty excited about color grading, because that's when you turn these flat, these shots that are shot in flat mode, that's when you bring them to life and they just sort of start, having punch again. So see you in the next lesson, and we'll be grading.